There was a point in my
Yeah.
life where nobody could really count on me. It was like,
Mhm.
hey man, can you do this? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it, and then I wouldn't show up, or, I didn't
Mhm.
have the motivation. And, you know, over the last few years, it's just been like a fire that got lit, and I can tell you that started with watching a podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Ability Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. Today I have Justin Jackson, and this guy is so awesome. I can't wait for you to hear his story. So, Justin, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, what's up? What's up, my man? So, a little bit about myself. My name is Justin Jackson. I am the host of the Real Chat podcast, and have been communicating with Nick here, on multiple levels, as well as podcasting, business ventures, just a whole array of different things, just life in general. And I come from a background of poverty. I come from poverty, and just trying to make it through life, just trying to navigate life and figure out what it is that I do. Part of that journey, you know, and being able to figure out what it is I really wanted to do in life. So I'm a life coach. So I do life coaching as far as transformation, growth mindset, changing your mindset. It took me a long
Mm-hmm.
time to kind of get out of the rut that I was in. And, it took a long time to change my behavior. So
Yep.
that's a big thing that I try to teach the people that I mentor, that I share my lived experiences with, is, changing your mindset and then changing your behavior. So first you have to believe that you can do something, that you can be a better
Mm-hmm.
person, a better man, woman, son, daughter, whatever it is, and then you change your behaviors based upon that.
Yep.
And then you'll
Exactly.
just see life. You'll see life change right
Yeah.
before your eyes. So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I do the same thing with my clients. We start with your mindset. Like mindset is everything. Like once you can, start to be a more positive person and start to have a better outlook on life, like the success will follow. Like no
Mhm.
matter what you want to accomplish, the more positive you are, the better things are going to get, and the faster you're going to get to where you want to go.
Yes, that's right. And I
Mm-hmm.
see, I take a lot of that um, into my daily routines. A lot of that I
Yep.
learned from having conversations with you, Nick, speaking with you and watching your videos every day. I mean, that right there speaks for itself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the things that you've accomplished um, will help anybody change their mindset. And I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest part. We need to be open to listening to what others have to say.
Mm-hmm.
You can scroll past a lot of videos and you can pick out certain things like, oh, that looks kind of cool, or I like that place or vacation that they're at. And I think that's the biggest problem is a lot of people scroll through these videos and they see what other people have, and then they
Yeah.
kind of doubt themselves and don't believe that they can do it themselves. You
Yep.
know, and we can
Yep.
all have that. We can definitely
Yeah.
have.
Exactly. I, I look at videos like that and go, okay, I have a goal. So
Mhm.
now, what are these people doing, or what did they do to get there? And
That's
then
right.
you follow the path that they took. Like, learn from the people that have what you want. Like, that's something that, like, nobody seems to understand is, a lot of people out there, they look at the successful people and they're mad because they're successful. It's like, no,
Mhm.
how about you stop? And obviously, what you're doing isn't working. So why don't you look at what they did to become successful, and then follow in their footsteps, but do your own thing. But
Yes.
like every successful person out there, if they built it themselves, they have something that they can teach you that will help you. So as
Yeah.
long as you're willing to take the time and learn, you can create a better life for yourself.
Yes. Well, when you look at it, they started from the bottom as well.
Mhm.
I mean, nobody starts right at the top. I
Nope.
mean, even when you come from money, when you come from a
Mhm.
family that is wealthy and has money, there's going to be a period in time where you don't want to take that knowledge they have to offer, and
Mhm.
you start from the bottom.
Mhm.
Sometimes you got to work your
Yeah.
way back in and make your way to the top. But either way, you start at the bottom. None of us come
Mhm.
into this world with a buttload of money.
Yep.
We don't start out that way. And even
Yep.
if you come into a family with money, you have to earn it. There's
Mhm.
things that you have to do. You have to abide by their rules. You have
Mhm.
to learn to change your behavior. So it always goes back to changing your behavior and your thought
Yep.
process. So, like you said, follow the people that are doing the things you want to do and have the things that you want to have. And
Mhm.
if you go back through the videos, you can see where it started. You know, I,
Mhm.
I I think we
Yeah.
talk about this. So for you that don't know, it's been a while since I've been on a call, with the group, but Nick and I
Mhm.
are involved in the same group. And one of the things that is always talked about is go back and look at the beginning. You
Mhm.
go back and you look at the episodes that you put out. And I was just doing this not too long ago. I went back through my podcast episodes and I was like, wow, like I wanted to do podcasts. I wanted to start making a name and trying to get out there in the podcast community. And I went back to my videos and I'm like, wow, like it, this is crazy, because it's almost like bloopers, like looking at some funny videos of all the
Yep.
mistakes that I made, and all
Yep.
the things that I tried to change. And I'm still learning along the way. Um,
Mhm.
but as I'm growing through it, I'm meeting more people. I
Mhm.
am, and the people that I'm meeting are phenomenal. As I said, you yourself, Nick, Infinite Abilities is just phenomenal. So if you haven't checked it out, you need to definitely check it out. Uh, Go back through those videos and see where Nick started and where he's at now.
Oh, don't do
And
that.
and you'll learn. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot.
Yeah.
You go
Yep.
back and you're like, wow, because I can see, uh, how you're utilizing the tools that you've been taught
Mhm.
and sharing that with the world. You're not keeping it for yourself. You're not putting it in your
Yeah.
pocket and hiding it away. You know,
Mhm.
and I think that's the biggest thing, having lived experiences. So that's one thing. That's one other thing about myself. I'm a Wisconsin State Certified Peer Support Specialist. So I deal with clients and peers on a level where I can share my lived experience.
Mhm.
And with that, we're able to find different pathways which are going to get them to where they need to be, whether it be
Mhm.
in recovery, whether it be in self confidence, whether it's changing their life from being in prison, because I have a lengthy history, of trouble. So, I was in a
Mhm.
lot of trouble in my younger days, and I was able to change that around to where I can go to a job and people can trust me, and the
Mhm.
people around me can count on me. There was a point in my
Yeah.
life where nobody could really count on me. It was like,
Mhm.
"Hey, man, can you do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and then I wouldn't show up, or, I didn't
Mhm.
have the motivation. And, you know, over the last few years, it's just been like a fire that got lit, and I can tell you that started with watching a podcast,
It,
so just
same
watching the
here.
podcast, I was like,
Yep.
wow, like I definitely want to do that, you know.
Yep. My whole journey got started because I started listening to a podcast that literally like saved my life and changed my life. I'm a way better person now than I was 3, 4 years ago. So
Yeah,
yeah, uh, it's amazing how life works.
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
it it is, and it's a journey, and this is a
Mhm.
journey again. This is a journey that you can bring others with you, but this is a
Mhm.
journey that you're going to take yourself.
Yep.
So it's about finding out who you are and who you want to be. you
Mhm.
know, and
Yeah.
again, like the name of your show, infinite, your infinite abilities. It's you can do amazing things when you put your mind to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yep.
The people that I've come across, and I've seen a lot of the struggles that they went through, um, and a lot of the pain that they suffered. I
Mm-hmm.
had a guest on my show, and um, he lost his son, to suicide,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to talk about that and still get out in the community and give back and help after that is just that's a lot of strength. There's
It
strength
is.
in that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. So I mean, in a nutshell, that's a little bit about myself. I struggled growing up, and I, um, didn't really have much family around me except for my
Mm-hmm.
immediate family. So my
Mm-hmm.
extended family, I didn't really know 'em. And
Okay.
I just had the opportunity to go down to Kansas and meet my family that I haven't seen since I was 5 years old.
Hmm.
So went down
That's
to
cool.
Kansas, had a great time. Uh, there was a lot of love and a lot of tears and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
joy. And the way life works, is I met a cousin of mine for the first time, and this was only about a month and a half ago. I met him for the first
Mm-hmm.
time, and since I was down there, they buried him on August 5th. So that's how quick life can change.
Mm-hmm.
And and I only bring that up because it comes to the point of changing your mindset, and changing your behaviors. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the people that I mentor are men that come out of prison that have had a record, and
Mm-hmm.
they just feel like no one's going to give them a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And they continue to do the same. They repeat the same cycle because here you are getting out of prison and you have that stigma that you're not going to be anything more than a criminal. Well, I
Yeah.
got news for you. You can be a lot more than a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be taught and given the tools to do things the right way. And
Yeah. Exactly.
once you say you can do it, you can definitely do it. And then you have to sustain it. You have to just stick to it.
Yeah.
So
And I also think it's always good to work on finding your true self because, like, I know for me, I've been going through my self improvement journey for 3, 4 years now,
mhm,
and I realized basically how fake I was.
mhm,
Because you follow along with what your parents do, what your friends do, and you kind of get caught up in that, and you're not actually your true self. You're not doing what you want to do. You're doing what other people want you to do, and I can tell you that's no way to live. You know, now that I've realized who I am, what I want in life, I'm a whole lot happier, and now I'm out helping others improve their life, which is
mhm.
just incredible.
Giving back. You're giving
Yeah,
back. You're
exactly.
putting that
Yep.
same energy, uh, that fire that got lit under you.
Mhm.
You're putting that back out into the atmosphere.
Mhm.
And when we
Yep.
put that good energy back out into the atmosphere, it's going to continue to come back. It's just going to keep coming back
Mhm.
in different ways, and those are going to be positive ways. You know, and
Yep.
it's not that bad things aren't going to keep happening, and there's still going to be downfalls and stuff like that. But the
Mhm.
downfalls aren't going to be as traumatizing. It's not going to be a lot of it's
Yep.
not going to be a surprise. You're going to be like, okay, so I can kind of expect this to happen. You know,
Yep.
and when
Yeah.
it does happen, you know how to handle it. So
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And like one thing that I've learned is, be okay with failing. And as I say failing lightly because I believe that you can't fail if you don't give up.
that's
So
right.
just if you have a setback, just learn from it.
Mhm.
Sit down and write out what happened and then work on a problem so that like or find a solution to the problem so then you don't do it again.
Right, right. Well,
You
oftentimes
know?
a lot of people create more problems when they're presented with solutions.
Yeah.
So you can sit here and you can tell a person, "Hey, why don't you try it this way?" And they'll say, "Yeah, but I think that if that doesn't work, and it's like, hey, you're dwelling too much into the failure itself
Yep.
instead of looking at it as a lesson.
Mhm.
This is something that I learned. Um,
Mhm.
and one of my favorite movies, says it best. It's a Bronx Tale. I'm not sure if you ever seen it, but a
I
Bronx
don't
Tale.
think so. No.
Watch that movie, and
Okay.
it's a mafia movie, and one of the mob bosses, tells the kid after he's so mad about a kid ripping him off for $20 and he owed him $20, he says, "Well, it only costed you $20 to get him out of your life." So you got rid of that guy for $20. What's the problem?
Yep. Yep.
Because if you would have continued a relationship with this other kid, then he
Mhm.
probably would have got you for a lot more money,
Yep.
eventually down the
Exactly.
line. Here you are friends 20 years later, and this guy rips you off for $1 million,
Mhm.
and you think back to
Yeah.
that one mistake. Hey, I should have just cut him off when he had $20, so
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point.
yeah.
So, what are 3 things that you can teach people?
Three things that I can teach people. Hmm. Well, one thing I know for sure that I can teach people is how to become a podcaster.
Mhm.
So, it's easier than people think it is.
Mhm.
And, it just takes consistency.
Yep.
Consistency
It
is
does.
key. Another thing that I can teach people is how to develop and build self confidence. You know,
Mhm.
I I dealt with a lot of my life where I didn't really know who I was. And
Mhm.
you hit it right on the head, earlier when you said you find out, how fake you really are.
Mhm.
And part of that
Yep.
is realizing who you are, and then you can be confident in front of anybody,
Mhm.
because you know who you are.
Yep.
So helping people with that is one of the biggest things that I enjoy doing. Is
Mhm.
building people up and helping them realize, hey, you're worth more. Your story
Mhm.
matters. You
Yep.
belong here just as much as anyone else. And the third thing I would say is how to come from a poverty mindset and develop
Mhm.
a mindset to where you want to be successful and you can be
Mhm.
successful. And success
Mhm.
doesn't look the same for everyone. You know,
No. No.
our successes look different. But the thing
Mhm.
is number one, like you said, uh, realizing and finding out who you are, find your true
Mhm.
self, and then you can start. Everything else will start falling in place. You know,
Mhm.
um, I remember early on when, excuse me, I started my podcast, and I would get so mad when my coworkers weren't contributing as much as I was, or
Mhm.
they weren't ready at the time that I was, and that's
Yep.
because their priorities weren't the same as mine.
Mhm.
So I had to shift my priority back to this is who I am, this is what I want to do, and I'm gonna have to make the terms, for it. I'm gonna have to set the boundaries. And if
Mhm.
they can't get on board with what it is that I'm trying to do, I'm gonna have to do it alone.
Mhm. Yep.
So um, I had to separate myself from that venture, and
Mhm.
now it kind of built a better relationship with those individuals. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, at first there was a little bitterness, but now it's a better situation. Because
That's good.
with us going our separate ways and doing our own thing, they were able to focus on their successes. The
Mhm.
things that they wanted to do. One is a boxing coach, and now he has a new gym.
Hmm.
Um, the other
Awesome.
one wants to purchase a home, and he's on his way to trying. He's doing his
Mhm.
best to make that happen and taking the
Mhm.
steps necessary. So,
Yeah.
I mean, at that
That's
time, we weren't
cool. And
focused.
yeah, yeah, and I believe everything happens for a reason.
Mhm.
So that situation wasn't working for the 3 of you, and now the 3 of you are doing really good. So that's all awesome.
Right, right.
So, what does my slogan, "Your abilities are infinite," mean to you?
So, what that means to me, and I'm glad you asked that question because I'm talking to that person right now. I'm talking to that
Mhm.
person right now. I had a chance to do an interview with another gentleman who just phenomenal man and the things that he does. He suffered a
Mhm.
traumatic brain injury, and he has since then. I mean, this guy has bigger arms than most guys I know that are in the gym uh, 7 days a week. This
Yeah.
kid is like a second son to us. He goes to the gym on a regular. He goes and he helps out at a nursing home with his girlfriend, and she's a
Mhm.
caregiver. So she takes care of a gentleman, and this guy goes and sits with him and lifts him out of bed and does everything he has to do
Mhm.
for him. And he goes to the gym so that he can remain strong enough to do things like that,
Yep.
you know. And
Yep.
he since then wants to be a fitness coach, and
Mhm.
so it's infinite to if being infinite is never ending. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
never ending. It's there's no number amount on it. So you just keep moving forward. You just keep going
Mhm.
and going and going, and then you keep coming back around and you keep doing it again. And you just
Yep.
keep doing it better. So I mean, that's kind of what that means to me. Your abilities are
Exactly.
infinite.
Yeah. That's awesome. Awesome. So awesome. And like, yeah, just keep on going. Like, there's no limit on what you can do. There
Mhm.
really isn't. So
Yeah.
I love that. All right. So how can people reach out to you? How can they find you? All of that.
So all that good information. The most thing that I'm doing
Yeah.
right now is on social media. So you can find me at Justin Jackson 331 on Instagram, Justin Jackson on Facebook. Everything I do is with my name. One thing I
Mhm.
learned a long little while back, I used to go by a nickname, and people used to call me Bree. And it was to the point where and it started from being half breed. So people used to call me breed. It went from half breed to just breed. And
Yep.
I went by that name for probably since I was about 12 years old. And
Mhm.
since then, I realized that, I came into this world as Justin Jackson. I'm going to leave this world as Justin Jackson. And I want the world to
Mhm.
know that I am Justin Jackson. That's who I am.
Yeah.
So all my
Mhm.
social media is going to have Justin Jackson. TikTok is
Mhm.
Justin Jackson 133. Um, I have a web page for my life coaching business, Legacy Milo Jackson, lifecoaching.com. So you can go on there and
Right.
find my website. Um, yeah. So other than that, I mean, I'm under the Real Chat podcast with Justin Jackson. That's on
Mhm.
Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio. So
Mhm.
you can find my podcast episodes there.
All right, everyone. Well, I highly recommend you reaching out to Justin and definitely check out his podcast. I know
Thank you.
it's good.
Thank
I
you,
mean,
Nick.
listen to the guy. He just has that podcast voice.
I got a quick question for you before we go,
Yeah,
Nick.
of
So
course.
I got to tell you, man, I love the video that you did while you were at your job. Like
Oh, yeah?
that right there. Yeah, I had a chance to sit down with another life coach today. I had coffee with him. That was the meeting I had to go to before we did this. So I
Yep.
sat down with him, and he got awarded. Um, his name is Anthony Flores. For anyone that wants to know, he's an online coach, and he
Hmm.
has one crazy story. But I brought that up to him. I said, "Hey, man," I said, my buddy Nick, I was like, posted a video of him driving, what was that? A garbage truck.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but at first, it was all the controls in there, and I'm looking, I'm like, what kind of truck is he driving? But
Yep.
man, that was amazing. So again, posting these videos and motivating
Hmm.
people, because that motivated me. I'm like,
Yep.
maybe I need to make more videos at work. So I mean, all I
Yep.
drive is a forklift, but I'm like, hey, I should probably make some videos on the forklift.
Hey, you should. That takes skill too. That's another thing that I've spent a lot of hours in or on is a forklift.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yep,
definitely.
yeah.
Nick,
I,
I really appreciate you having me on, brother. I do. I
oh
do.
yeah, of course. It was really great. So thank you also.
Definitely. Appreciate it, brother. We'll do it again.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me here, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.